Hunter Biden giving the big guy another big headache. New emails reveal President Biden's involvement with his son's shady entanglements. Joe wrote a college recommendation letter for the son of Hunter's Chinese business partner. This comes amid growing calls for a special counsel to probe all of Hunter's crooked dealings. The White House, though, stonewalling like crazy.
Was it common for President Biden to do favors for Hunter Biden's international business partners, like writing college recommendations for their kids?
I've seen the report. I have no confirmation or comment on a report about whether or not the president, when he was a private citizen, wrote a college recommendation letter for an individual.
But he's the president now, and you're his spokesperson.
Correct. And he was not the president at the time of this report.
And Chris Christie shredding the corrupt media.
We know what the Democrats would be saying if this were going on in a Republican administration. And so what we need is to get to the bottom of it. And let's face it, the media has been complicit in this. They didn't want it to interfere with their narrative that Joe Biden deserved to be elected president. This is where we are right now, and we need to get to the bottom of it and get to the truth.
All right, Judge, let's get to the truth here. So Biden flies Hunter to Beijing, and Hunter introduces him to this guy. And then a couple years later, Biden writes a letter of recommendation to Brown. No one wants to go there anyway. So when Joe says that, oh, I have no idea about my son's business dealings, he's obviously lying.
I told you that yesterday.
And I remembered it.
Liars. Look, here's the thing. Biden was still the vice president when his son went into business with the CEO of that Chinese energy company. OK, he writes the letter for this kid apparently when he left office, but it doesn't matter. Here's what we need. We need a special counsel. This cannot be handled by Merrick Garland. I think right now, based upon the emails that we have seen, we need to have an investigation not just of Hunter Biden, but of Joe Biden. Because if Joe Biden's bills are being paid for by Hunter Biden, if Joe Biden is bringing his son to China and his son is making money after meeting on Air Force 2 in China, and if the email, which there has already been questions about in the grand jury as to who H is or who the big guy is, if there's already hard testimony in terms of the witness who wrote the email, that's this guy Jillian. We don't know what his answer is, but we know from Tony Bobulinski, who was on that email, that the big guy was Joe Biden. So if you don't believe that, ask yourself, why would the money be held by Hunter for the big guy?
So, Geraldo, the president's two defenses have blown up, that he doesn't talk to his son about business and Hunter never took money from the Chinese. They've blown up. It's blown. So where do we go from here?
Hunter Biden is, or at least was, a pig. And he was so unmotivated that he didn't even have the energy after giving his computer to the Delaware repair shop to pick it up. What I want to know, though, and I think is far more interesting than flailing around about special prosecutors and so forth,
I'm not flailing.
Remember,
I am not flailing.
you don't flail. I mean, us
no, I don't.
discussing. I withdraw the verb to flail. I withdraw that because you're not a flailer. But remember when the 51 intelligence operatives signed a letter that said the Hunter Biden emails are likely Russian disinformation? 51 of our brightest intelligence officers said it was likely Russian disinformation. Where are they now? The Senate Judiciary Committee wants to know, where are these 51 experts who said, that's phony, it's fake, during the height of an election? It's phony, it's fake, forget about it. Where are you now?
Yeah.
It's, and you consider how they track down everybody that showed up at the Capitol on January 6th.
Yeah.
But they don't know where these other guys are, but they'll dock somebody who does a meme.
Greg?
Oh, sorry. I just realized that no one has ever asked me for a letter of recommendation, and that includes my niece and nephew. And I was pretty successful.
Yeah.
But I guess they knew that it wouldn't.
And you could write a good letter.
I would write a good letter. I'm a pretty decent writer. But when you consider the laptop story and you consider the collusion, the collusion myth, it's the Democrats and media and the intel agencies working together, and it's almost like their own shadow government in a way that they can create a story or they can eliminate a story. They get it to the media who amplifies it or disappears it. It impacts the American public, and then we kind of do what the shadow government wants us to do. We vote for Joe Biden because that's exactly was the result from all of this, and it makes sense and it changes the way you look at everything. I mean, it's like you have the Russian collusion, laptop, insurrection, find people hoax, drinking bleach, don't say gay. All of these things are these manufactured stories. So it's nobody's fault if you don't believe anything anymore, right? And if somebody's skeptical of your beliefs, then you believe them even more because you think they're full of crap.
Do you think Jen Psaki believes what her boss, Joe Biden, is telling her at this point? Because you look at her body language and her facial expression, and I read body language, Dana, for a living on the side. You can tell she's uncomfortable, and you can tell she knows she's not telling the truth, but she's pushing the party line.
I think it's what she has been told, right? So has she been told the truth? I don't know. I don't think she's lying.
But that doesn't square with everything that's been reported about Joe's knowledge and about the payments.
And I understand why they always say, got to call the DOJ, got to call. Now, that will last until it doesn't. And that's one of the reasons the New York Post today said that there should be a special counsel because let's say that there's a plea deal and part of the plea deal is the evidence goes away. Then nobody will ever know, and so it'll be a continued mystery. That's one of those reasons. A couple of things on that. Miranda Devine this morning on Fox and Friends said that the letter of recommendation was not very effective. The kid did not get it. So that, I mean, everybody keeps missing. I feel like we're burying the lead. Like it was not successful.
Biden is not taken seriously by anybody.
All good the money that they sent the Biden family did.
I also talked to a couple of people today in the intelligence community. One is retired who said that they were getting so many requests to join the other 51, and there's like probably 10,000 people who were given this request to sign on, and only these 51. And if you look at the 51, it's not like it's just intelligence officials. They all have, I shouldn't say all, but if you look through, you could like Democratic connections all the way throughout, and they can't be found. Jerry Dunleavy, I believe, at the Washington Examiner, he's keeping track. He calls all of them all the time. It's like, hey, do you guys want to comment now? And they always say no. The last point I want to make is that the left has been leaning in really hard to try to say that Ginny Thomas is so influential over her husband, and this is in regards to her text messages to the former chief of staff to Trump about election integrity in 2020. But I imagine that the Biden family is like, I don't think we want to set that standard. That's not exactly the standard we want to be going for.
That's a good point.
Can I just say one more thing? Isn't it obscene how it wasn't until the Washington Post or the New York Times affirmed that the computer was real and the emails were real, that was a release for the rest of the media to say, okay, I mean, what happened for 2 years? I mean,
because now, I mean, they suppressed it to get him in. Now they're releasing it to get him out.
Ooh, line of the night.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.